Hey, welcome everybody to another episode of Trent Talks. And for those that watch my episodes, usually you can see, yes, I'm doing my usual hand rub when I get really excited about an upcoming episode. So we're super excited today to have Dr. Natalia oh, shoot, I just said it right before we got on air. Wiechowski?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. Dr. Natalia Wiechowski. See, there we go. But she spent a good bit of time in the corporate world and then has since been able to really transition into, now she is one of the leading experts, as far as I'm concerned, in LinkedIn marketing and really being able to put together strategies to not only increase your personal brand kind of as a thought leader, but also to bring in business, which is what everybody ultimately wants to do. So Natalia, thank you for being here. I'm super excited to have you. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Well, thank you so much, Trent. I really look forward to our conversation, and let's add huge value and have fun and, maybe slap people into the face to make them wake up and do stuff.
I am good with slapping. Slapping works. I want to ask you one quick question. How did you end up in Dubai?
How did I end up in Dubai? I realized during my studies that I need to have international experience in my CV if I want to make it, whatever that means. So during my studies, I didn't want to do that because I was in the highest level of my dance career. So I said, you know what, dear universe, the first job after my studies will be abroad. And my best friend and boyfriend back then got the opportunity to live and work in the UAE. And after a few months of being here, he told me, amazing vacancy that we cannot fill. I think you're the perfect person for that. This is the person you need to contact, send your CV and take it from there. And they love what I did, or they love who I am, and there you go.
Now, the part that I didn't have in the bio, I didn't know you were a professional dancer. I didn't get that in the bio. I didn't see that in the research. So I'm sure we'll get a little touch into that as we go, as to how you got from that point through the corporate world. But so give us a little bit of the backstory. I know in your bio, you were, roughly 29 years old when you got fed up with the corporate world?
Yep, absolutely.
But what got you to that point?
It sounds cliche, but that was really true for me. I was 29 and I worked in the government sector, and then I worked in the private economy, and I realized that I'm following this illusion of, I'll be happy in my next job. And, the big three, the 30 was just not. And when I was 13, I had a picture of how I want to live when I'm 30. And I was so far away from living that. I was really unhappy with who I became, and I didn't perceive myself as successful, and I was really unhappy. And it reached a stage where I was literally twice per month in hospital seeing a doctor. Really? Because I had ridiculous physical pain, and they couldn't say what it is. They said, whatever you're doing, stop doing that. We cannot find anything. But if you continue, it's going to get chronic, and most probably also get cancer. And I was like,
that's terrifying.
I know. And then, the universe, or whatever you believe in, a high intelligence, hit me with a message. And the message was, the pain that you're going through is self-created. And I was like, boom, wow. Okay, thank you for that. And the second message was, be the change you want to see in the world, Mahatma Gandhi.
Yeah.
And I realized, okay, I don't understand, but I understand. So I quit my job, I went on a sabbatical, and I literally unlearned everything that I've ever learned. I changed the way how I talk, how I act, how I eat, how I consume, how I sleep. What else? I started meditating, and literally...
You really had to make an intentional shift from this is where I am to this is where I want to be. Yeah. And by the way, quick side note, big fan of Mahatma Gandhi. We share the same birthday. Oh. So when I went to India for a few weeks, that was a big hit there. I made sure to tell everybody that. They're like, oh my gosh, you share the same birthday as Gandhi? Yes, I do. Does that mean I get free food? No free food? Oh, okay, sorry. Sorry, go ahead, continue. You had to make huge life-altering shifts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Now, was it? How long did it take you? Because obviously, people talk about shifts, and we think about the aspect of, well, when I'm going to change something, and I think most people don't realize this, it's really hard to change something. It's really, and not much less when you're changing a lot of things and you're trying to really redirect the course of your life, if you will, because it's not one of these, you hear the phrase all the time, 21 days in a row makes a habit. I'm not sure I believe that, because I've done some things for 21 days and it still is really difficult to continue doing it after 21 days.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every person apparently has a specific time frame that he or she needs in order to implement a habit. As you said, studies say 21 days, but then other studies say 67 days, and then we're all very different. And some things, there are some things that we need to do, but we don't like them, and we will never like them, but we just need to do them. So it will always be pain, and will always be struggling. And I think it will never change. But it is what it is. What I realized is what tremendously helped me is, again, totally cliche, but where for me, knowing why on earth I'm going to do that. So when I knew that I have a bigger mission or a purpose, or this whole suffering has, first of all, a reason, and second of all, a deadline, I said, you know what? Let me push through that. It will not physically hurt me. I'm just creating a lot of drama in my mind. And I should also stop taking things like that personally. That will definitely help. And coming from that mindset was really, really made that suffering so much easier. And I made sure that I always celebrated small milestones, and that I looked back and appreciated what I've achieved. And so the whole process took me 3 years to become really a person that is not beating herself up all the time. Because I used to have a super loud mind and a super loud, like some people call a judge. So whenever I would screw things up, it would be,
you were very hard on yourself then.
Absolutely. So 3 years to become clean.
But it is interesting, though, that my wife and I were literally just talking about this the other day, because my wife is getting her personal trainer's license, and she's huge into fitness, and she loves helping other people find their levels of fitness and just wherever they are, increase their levels of fitness. And so what I thought was really cool is we were actually talking about this, because I'm a big Gary Vee fan.
Oh yeah.
And her boss is a Gary Vee fan, and he was kind of giving her little tidbits on that side. And we both ended up talking about how the process is, you have to embrace the entire process. And this can go to, like what you're talking about, life changes. This can go to business. It can go to just about anything, but you have to embrace the process. And there is that hurry up and be really fast and do a ton as much as you can day by day, but then be super patient and not expect changes overnight. But be super patient in the long run for the process. And I think that's hugely important.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you made these life altering changes. So how did that get you into I want to help people, I want to be the change I want to see, and now all of a sudden, I know it's not like I dream a genie, blink, blink, but how all of a sudden do you go from that to now I'm the LinkedIn marketing expert and I'm speaking on stages globally around the world, teaching people how to do this effectively?
So I think there are a couple of milestones that I can mention to paint a more vivid picture. So I started with a blog during my sabbatical, because I realized that writing for my PhD thesis, this academic stiff writing, really frustrated me. I needed an outlet for my sarcasm and for my German not funny humor. And so I realized that blogging might be a better outlet for that. And after some time, I realized that people liked it. And then friends bumped into me, and that one specific person said, "Natalia, do you know what your next step is?" And I said, "Well, if I knew, I would have done it,
If I knew, I wouldn't be sitting here."
Exactly. So he said, it's public speaking. So I didn't want to do it. The resistance was very high, but in the end I did it, and they forced me on a stage. I went to Toastmasters, and they said, "Natalia, deliver an impromptu speech on selfies." And I realized when I was on stage that I had two options: either looking like a complete idiot because I don't know what I'm doing, or looking like an idiot by entertaining people. So being that crazy person that I am at a kitchen party or whatever. So I went for the entertaining idiot, and people loved it. They really connected. And I realized, wow, I'm a speaker. I suck at it, but I'm a speaker. Damn, I need to
But
work
because I
so
have fun with
hard.
it, people love it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
So they
it's a
go,
funny mentality because I'm always that. I'll be 30. I'm 38. I'll be 39 October, right? And so I'm just a big kid. I know it. And like my wife, sometimes it drives her crazy. Bless her heart. She's very patient with me, but I'm the same way. I'm like, I just enjoy having a lot of fun, and I think that I've learned over the years. You're 100% right. It's a whole lot easier to look like a fool on purpose than on accident.
yeah.
If I do it on purpose, then nobody cares. They're like, oh, yeah, he's just, it's Trent being Trent. We're good. But sorry, go ahead. So you were at Toastmasters and you decided to go through the edutainment side of it instead of just the serious educator.
Exactly. So that worked for me pretty well. So I realized, okay, it's apparently something with speaking. And then I was super impressed by the North American mindset. I think, you guys, you North Americans, the way how you market yourself and the way how you look at life and the way how you look at failure is so refreshing, especially when I compare it with the German mindset and the German upbringing and everything that I went through, because I'm originally from Germany. So I decided to study a lot of American entrepreneurs, read every book out there or article on social media, started to follow Gary Vee. And I started talking about it in my speeches, started blogging about it, started being more active on social media, et cetera, et cetera. And at a certain stage, there was this one woman who approached me and said, Natalia, there's this super thick book and I cannot read it because I'm so busy, but you do that stuff anyway. So could you read that book and then teach me what is in it? And I looked at the book and it said personal branding. And I was like, what on earth is personal branding? That was what I was thinking. But I looked at the book, looked at her, looked at the book and said, sure, that's exactly what I do.
Why
Until
not?
when do you want me to teach that?
That's funny.
Personal branding found me.
So, wow. So you literally, like the process you are now where you're building the personal brands and the thought leader brands on LinkedIn, you literally were stumbled into it, quote unquote, forced into it by someone coming up and saying, hey, can you do this? And it wasn't something you intentionally stepped into. See, I love that though, because that's how people a lot of times, like, you find your way into things versus being like, oh, look, I went to school to be a doctor. I don't know if it's just me, but I don't see a white coat here. I mean, so it's like, yeah. I enjoy what I do. I work with entrepreneurs, business owners, and like I get to meet a lot of amazing people like yourself doing this show. And it's a heck of a lot of fun. I just think it's really cool from the standpoint of like you happened into something that ends up being your passion. I mean, I was forced into doing Facebook Lives by Trish Lito. I followed her a little bit, and Trish is big on, she has her 5-minute like Facebook Lives course, which is a very good course. And I had messaged her a few times and she started like gently, but like writing me a little bit like, what are you afraid of? Why aren't you doing it? What's going on? And so like it kind of prompted me to start doing it. And then I'm like, well, you know what? Maybe I'll get someone else on the show with me. And then this all started. So it is really awesome when you just kind of shoved into something that you never knew you were going to be there. But okay, so the next question. So you're into personal branding. Why LinkedIn and how LinkedIn? Like where did you go into LinkedIn? Because most people, the first thought when they think personal branding, even business, is, well, I got to go to Instagram, I got to go to Facebook. Because LinkedIn is it's strictly a business platform where people are talking only business.
Yeah, very good question. So I was experimenting a lot with Instagram and Facebook, and the feedback that I got was, you're so pretty, you're so beautiful. Can I ask you out for a date?
Oh, geez.
I was like, dude, I'm trying to teach you something. You have some serious issues. So then I realized, okay, apparently these are not my platforms. What else is out there? And right. I mean, LinkedIn was there, and I tried the same thing on LinkedIn, and some people liked it. And there were no stupid comments. And I realized, it's less painful there. So let's focus on this platform. And I did, right? And I did that. And I started posting every day. And then I was experimenting. And I got a lot of negativity from people who perceive themselves as LinkedIn police, who say, you shouldn't do that. And that's Facebook. And that's Instagram. That's too beautiful. And that's, I literally failed myself up to finding my own tone on LinkedIn. until two of my posts went viral. I think one post in 2017 had like 19,000 likes and the other one had 53,000 likes. And then I
Oh,
realized,
wow.
boom, there you go. LinkedIn is my platform.
Interesting. Wow. It is interesting. Anybody that spent time on LinkedIn, though, the LinkedIn police. It's so funny that you ever notice the LinkedIn police, though, a lot of times are the ones that I'm a Lion LinkedIn open networker, right? Like that's the LinkedIn police. And they've also posted a total of like 8 posts over like 6 years. But they're the
Yeah.
LinkedIn police for sure.
Yeah.
They're the ones that know this is the only thing you should be posting. Okay. So I want to dive into this because this is something that, I've even myself, I've gone back and forth. I've toyed a little bit with LinkedIn. I've gotten a lot of business from LinkedIn, but at the
Yeah.
same time, it's from building a following and a brand on LinkedIn. I don't know. I personally, I can say this. I've personally struggled with that aspect from LinkedIn. So I would like to hear kind of your concepts on like what you see the similarities with LinkedIn and what works on LinkedIn versus the Facebook, Instagram, and also the differences of how you change what you do on Facebook and Instagram to better fit LinkedIn.
So LinkedIn is a platform that opened its gates to videos, I think 2 years ago. That means LinkedIn is craving video content. So if you are not afraid of public speaking, then video is your tool. And even if you are afraid of public speaking, overcome it and create LinkedIn videos, because it's just true. That kind of content is pushed approximately 5 times more by the algorithm. So that's something that we definitely keep on mind. Another thing that is interesting is Gary Vaynerchuk said it, that the organic reach on LinkedIn right now is like on Facebook in 2011. That means from an organic growth perspective, LinkedIn is killer, is queen and king at the moment. So that's definitely something that we need to keep in mind. If you're a person with deep thoughts, if you're a person that has strong opinion that is grounded on something, if you want to make a difference, if you want to make a change, if you want to start a movement, if you really want to make money, LinkedIn is the right platform, because people over there are in a business mindset. They are there to buy, to sell, to network, to build their personal brand, to learn. So do everything that triggers, these receptors. While on Instagram, I'll use Instagram because I know more about Instagram than Facebook. Sure. I have the feeling that Instagram is definitely a more visual platform, in the sense that you should use pictures in your newsfeed. But now, for example, with IGTV, you can also do videos.
Sure.
And what I also realized is that people don't want so much business and they don't want so much text. That's at least my personal perception of it. So my content is definitely shorter, and I give them more access into my private life, into the lifestyle of Dubai, into my hobbies, the people that I hang out with. So so if people are strictly into knowledge and education and into getting stuff done, LinkedIn. If you want to know more the private side or the hobby and whatever aspects of me, I would rather use Instagram. But I make sure that every 3-4 posts, people also get the hardcore, I have a brain.
Right.
If you really want to get something done, follow me on LinkedIn. By the way, this is a small teaser. So that's how it works for me.
Okay. So now, do you stray away or shy away from almost all personal content on LinkedIn, or you just primarily make a majority of it business with little hints of personal content here and there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I give a few hints about my private life on LinkedIn, but I think there are some aspects that I would not, or a few information or pictures or whatever, that I would not post on LinkedIn, especially as I live in the Middle East, in the UAE, which is, I mean, of course, it's a very tolerant country, the UAE, but after all, it's a Muslim country. So,
but even Dubai, though, is known for its business acumen, though. Dubai is considered one of those cities that is one of the top international business cities.
Absolutely. So, for example, you would see me wearing a skirt that shows my knees, ooh, or my arms, ooh, on Instagram, but you
True.
would very likely not see that on LinkedIn. So most probably on LinkedIn, I'll wear a
I
t-shirt
see.
that covers my shoulders, maybe even a blazer. Yeah, and then every person needs to decide on his or her own if, showing the family is a thing that you should do on LinkedIn. I mean, I
Yeah.
had huge debates with people on it. It also it depends on your values, but it also depends on your business. So if you're a family therapist, of course your
Of
family
course, you
needs to
show
be
your
part of
family
your
on LinkedIn.
content, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so that is interesting. Though. I've never really gotten into my family per se on LinkedIn. I mean, anybody that follows me on Instagram, they'll have seen photos of my daughters and my wife and stuff like that. But I've never really gotten to it on LinkedIn. I don't know. I just never felt like it was one of those things that the people who are looking to learn what I'm sharing on LinkedIn don't really care that I have two daughters and I'm married. I don't know. It was just my perspective. Maybe at some point down the road, it'll be good for me to share that because if the brand gets big enough, it humanizes you and help people connect. Sure. But you talked about being LinkedIn right now being very video heavy. Now, when you're doing your video, what's your ratio of going live on LinkedIn's platform and doing video, like recording it right then, versus uploading recorded videos? And have you seen a huge difference between the two?
So I'm sitting down once per month and I'm recording approximately 20 videos. So that's the content I prepare for a month. Sometimes it's every 6 weeks. I've started experimenting with LinkedIn Live. So I'm one of the lucky LinkedIn beta testers. And I was heavily frustrated with it because this one didn't work and that one didn't work and the internet connection is too slow and I need to read about all this tech stuff. But from everything that I can see right now is that LinkedIn Live Beta is an amazing tool because what happens is that everybody gets a push notifications whenever you're live, which means like literally everybody. While on Facebook, on Instagram, apparently it's just a specific percentage. On LinkedIn, everybody gets that. And
Interesting.
yeah, it's huge. And the next thing is also that people they're not used to that. So at the moment, it's
When you
still
get a
something
push notification,
special.
it's kind of that novelty of what is this? Let me click on it. It's kind of like the very first time Facebook Lives came out and people started doing
Yeah,
Facebook Lives. You would literally tune in just to see what the heck is going on.
yeah,
Interesting.
exactly.
Okay, so what are some of the don'ts that you have to see? Like what should you not be doing on LinkedIn? Because obviously there's going to be some things that you can look at it. If you're doing this, you're going to turn people off and it's going to do way more damage to your brand. And here's the other question I have with that. How do you feel about when you're commenting on other people's posts? Like you're a fan of Gary. So Gary talks about his $1.80 strategy, that kind of thing, right? So when you're commenting on other people's posts, I see a lot of this and I'm torn on it that I disagree or that I'm educating someone on someone else's post. What are your thoughts on that? Is it okay to do that, or should it be one of those things where you need to keep all your comments positive?
So let's start with the don'ts. What I regularly see people doing is they send me a connection request without any comment, without any information. And I'm like, who are you? Where do I know you're from? What do you want from me? And if I don't resonate with the person's title and picture and the whole vibe, I would just click ignore because, again, I don't know. And if there's a post that people really liked, I can easily have up to 200 connection requests per day. So if you don't help me, and I'm not the only person who thinks like that. So make sure that you send out some text, and information.
That little time to add a note when you send a connection request, it takes 10 seconds, 15 seconds.
Exactly. It's a little bit like when you're on the phone, you also say, hey, this is so-and-so, right?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I'll call up, hey, this is Trent. How you doing, man? And it's not like, hey, how you doing? Who, what, why? Yeah, I totally get it.
So that's the first thing. And another thing is that people don't they don't publish content. They are content consumers. So they read and maybe they like or comment, and they want to be seen as gurus or experts or thought leaders, and they don't publish their own content. And I'm like, how on earth do you want me to perceive you as the go-to expert when I have never seen you speaking, when I've never read any of your articles because they're not existing? I don't get it. So if you want to build a thought leadership personal brand, you need to start creating content. And if you don't know how to do that, then get a coach, invest in an online course, whatever. You need to become a little publishing house, an agency, a PR consultancy, however you want to call that. So I think these are two of the biggest mistakes that people do, to answer the first part of your question. And the second part was
in there. My own annoyance.
Okay.
Do not send someone a connection request, and when they accept your connection request, turn around and send them a 3-paragraph message saying, hey, do you have time for a quick 15-minute call? No, because that is one of my, I get that people will do it. And if you send enough of them, you'll get people, eventually you'll get somebody to respond. But I could probably pull up my message box right now, my inbox for LinkedIn, and 25% of the people that I accept a connection request from, I get, hi, my name's John Smith. We'll use web design. I get that one a lot. I run a web design agency, and we specialize in this kind of PHP development and software, this and that. And here's my 15 examples. And can I sit and talk with you now for 15 minutes if you need a developer? Delete. And the other note with that, read the person's profile. If you're in the exact same industry as the person, don't pitch them your services, because they probably don't need it if they're selling their services that are the exact same. Yeah. I think that's my biggest pet peeve. I will get a little snippy with people who are in my industry if they message me pitching their own services. I actually will call them out. I'm like, oh, so you didn't bother to read my profile. My wife will leave me. She's like, you need to be nice. I'm like, no, I'm irritated.
Oh, I know. Like recently, somebody wanted to sell me some LinkedIn training, and especially how to build my brand on LinkedIn. I was like,
really?
No, don't answer. Delete. Because everything you're going to write can be used against you. Just delete it.
That's what I need to do. I need to just delete and move on.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Okay, so what was the other part we were saying?
180 strategy, Gary Vee.
Keeping it positive, or being able to tell someone, kind of correct someone in a thought process.
Well, I think it's all about the wording. I would always make sure that I do not upset somebody. And we need to keep in mind that LinkedIn is a business platform, and that the majority of people over there tends to be male, and they tend to be also a little bit wiser or more mature. So especially these kind of individuals, you do not want to educate them, because they have a very fragile ego. So if you don't want to start a war, don't do that. So that's the first thing to remember. Ooh, is there water coming out of your nose?
What's that? Oh, yeah, almost. I thought it was coming out. So keep it positive with your $1.80 strategy. When you're commenting and providing value, don't try and educate people.
Yeah, I mean, you can do different things. You can tell a story. It's like, oh, that's so interesting. That reminds me of a story. Or, I actually experienced something very different. Or, with all my respect, I would like to share my perception or opinion on it, which is different. Or,
I like the phrase of, have you ever thought of trying it this way that might change this result? Because then it allows the person to somewhat change. I heard a phrase a long time ago that says, no human being truly ever changes their mind. They make a different decision based on new information, right? So if you present someone a new information, and not just like, hey, you're wrong, I'm right, but versus, hey, have you thought of it this way? Now you're presenting them information, and it kind of puts them in a frame of mind where they can agree with you without looking like they're backing off their position saying, I'm wrong.
Yeah. Nobody likes to be told that he or she is wrong, especially not online. This could ruin your reputation.
Yeah.
And I totally believe in, which book was that? That was How to Make Friends and Gain Influence or whatever.
How to make friends, Yeah, I know
You know
what you're
what I
talking
mean.
about. I can't remember the guy's name all of a sudden. Like I'm trying to think of the author.
Dale
Dale
Carnegie.
Dale Carnegie. How to
There you
influence
go.
people and make friends. That's what it was.
There you go. So he said you always have the option of leaving a person a little bit better than he or she was before. And I like that thought. So I made
Yeah.
that a core target for every day.
Awesome. I really hope you enjoyed and got a lot of value in this video. If you did, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment below. I'm going to be answering all the comments myself. And also, come find me on your favorite social media platform and tell me what else I can help you with.